Hello, my friends, and welcome to another stream of Adobe Live. I'm your host, Kieran Lewis, freelance designer from London. And on today's stream, we're focusing on all things illustration via Adobe Illustrator. And joining me today is someone who is joining us for the very first time. So please send some warm welcome via emojis for the illustrator, Adam Bosley. Adam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We both got the white tees on today, so we got the memo, man. We
Yeah.
we knew the assignment. Just a bit of groundkeeping rules first for you lovely people. As always, we are streaming on YouTube and Behance. So any questions you have for Adam, get those in the comments, please, in the chat, and I'll definitely do my best to share that with Adam whilst he's designing. And on a final note, please don't forget to subscribe on Adobe at YouTube and Instagram at Adobe Live for any updates and latest stream content. So, Adam, that's enough for me, buddy. Would you like to give your intro to who you are?
Sure, yeah. I'm Adam the Illustrator. I'm Adam Bosley. I go by Adam the Illustrator online. I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, and a content creator. And a lot of my artwork focuses on cute characters with some fun messaging around encouragement and uplifting messages. And then I also teach people how to use Adobe Illustrator a little bit better. I'll show like the way that I used to do it, maybe like
Nice.
5, 6 years ago, or like a week ago. And then if something new came out or just a new technique that I learned, I'll showcase that technique as well. And I try to keep it fun and light, give some funny faces and, some
Love that.
no's and yeses, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feel for obviously your social and your online presence, and yeah, I mean, your work is it's fun. I mean, that was one of the, we'll definitely go into a bit more, but that's the essence I got, like the fun and the characteristics, which is why I'm even more excited to host you because I feel like we're gonna vibe off that energy, man. And just a little one for the chat because I can see folks are here, so I want to share some love to you all. We've got Jacob, we've got Black Becky, we've got Sean, and then again Paco as well. So again, any questions you lovely folks have for Adam whilst we jump into Illustrator, all about his design process, please do get those in the chat. So, Adam, is it Illustrator I'm right in saying that we're jumping into today?
Jumping into
Yeah.
Illustrator.
Boom. As if I knew that was happening. As if it was planned.
It's
Cool.
right
Well, take
there.
it away when you're ready.
All right, yeah. So I think I'm just gonna draw this basketball character that I'm kind of known for,
Cool.
and it's one of like I kind of use it as my logo. So I thought this would be the perfect time to like redo it because I haven't done it in such a long time. But I might add some fun
Sounds good.
features to it as well that like include, our host Adobe.
Yeah,
And
why not?
since this is my first time, why not try and implement some fun stuff?
I love that. Can I ask, why basketball? Are you a basketball fan? Do you play?
Yeah,
Do you watch?
I
Yeah.
love I watch basketball mostly, but I'll play from time to time. But I
Nice.
just like when I play, I just like go around and shoot. I'm not really like in a league. Although during
Right.
COVID, I got in a league and then it got shut down in like 2 weeks, which kind of sucked. I was so upset because it was
Real
so
life hits
much.
us.
It was so chill and so fun, and it was just something that well, that's gonna be my basketball guy.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, it was just like the most fun I've had in such a long time, and like
Mm.
playing a sport where it wasn't like the most competitive. I'm definitely a competitive dude, but it was it was super chill.
I
So
love that. And I love the fact that you're using something that you enjoy, i.e. through sport, and apply that to your craft. Which actually is a nice question for to get going in the chat. If anyone in the chat has used maybe any sort of hobbies, side hustles, or anything that's fun, maybe that's not creatively that creative led, and that somehow it's fed into your work, let us know. We like to hear about it. So you said basketball, Adam. I mean, I would have do football from or soccer if you call it that if you're from the US, but
yeah.
I haven't really done much projects based on that, which I'd like to do more of perhaps down the line. Who knows?
I know we actually have the
Um,
World Cup coming to Canada too. So like I feel next
mhm.
year or even like I'm gonna work on this eye here. And then going into next year, I think I'm gonna start doing some soccer stuff to try and
Do it. We'll get you
I
back
don't
on the
know,
stream and we'll have
maybe
a new mascot.
exactly. We'll get a soccer
So
character
talk
going.
us through what we're looking at now. So I'm guessing these are the pupils and the eyes of your character.
Yeah, these are the eyes of the character, and I usually like to like have them. I'm gonna do something fun up top on the right here. But I created these pupils super easy, just using like the shape tool,
Mm.
and I'm just using the ellipse tool, and created them, and then I'll use the pen tool to cut them up and give it that like kind of glimmer effect.
Nice.
Right now, I'm just gonna cut up this line here.
Whilst you're doing it, I'm quite curious. So, within your work, do you well, there's more questions I want to ask you, but I'll start the first one. Do you tend to draw first and then jump on the screen? Do you scan work in? What's your kind of design process for folks to know more about?
Honestly, I've always been, that's like a good question, but I've always jumped right into Illustrator. That's kind of the
Cool.
program that I learned on. And
Mm.
when I got into school, I was not I wasn't an artist. Like I didn't get into graphic design because I was like, oh, I want to be a designer. A teacher told me about it. I literally had to like look it up in 2011 or 2008 on the internet and be like, what is graphic design?
I love
And
that.
and I figured it out, and I was just like, I feel like this could be something that I could actually like put my attention to and like focus on and really
Mm.
work towards getting better at it. And my work started awful, and then it got better as time went on.
I love. Do you know what I love about that experience as well is that because again, everyone that's tuned in, it completely ranges from the folks that we have, whether it's people who are seasoned pro designers, people just starting out. But I guess your experiences give folks a bit cheesy, but hope in a sense where if they're not from design background and they're starting quite late, there is literally
Mhm.
no point in life where you can't continue or where you can start, I should say, a career in the creative space.
100%. And like that's part of my story. I got to do a Adobe Create Now a little while ago,
Nice.
and I got to just share my story. And my story is just a lot of. It took me, I think, from 2011 to 2019 to get my first design job. So
Okay.
having that experience and just kind of working freelance and like working in the restaurant industry and stuff like that, I
Mm.
just I just kind of liked to illustrate. And even though I didn't think it was ever going to be the job that I was gonna like pursue, in the sense of like, I applied to a lot of agencies and I never got a job.
Mm.
Um, I just kept at it and kept like, I was like, I really like doing this thing. I'm gonna continue to
Nice.
do it for fun. And it worked out thankfully during COVID.
Yeah. Oh, so was it during COVID? It was, I guess it would have been during COVID time, right? When you,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay.
So in
Snap.
2019, I got my first job
Cool.
as a graphic designer with this small agency. Am I allowed to
Mm.
name drop the agency? Like they don't exist anymore, but I can name drop.
I think you can name drop.
Yeah. Okay. It was called Hook,
Cool.
and it was Toronto based. It was like super close to home. And yeah, we just
Nice.
I got the job. I was so nervous to take it on because I worked in the bar industry for such a long time.
Mm.
And then I took it on. A big learning curve, and then
Yeah, oh, for sure.
we all got laid off in 2020 because of COVID. And
Mm.
then I just kind of started illustrating. I took like a bit of time off because I did obviously apply for a ton of jobs right before COVID hit, and I didn't land one. And I was just like, damn, this sucks. It
Mm.
was probably like the most discouraging thing that ever happened in my life. Um, and
Difficult, huh?
then
Mm.
yeah, and then COVID hit, and I was like, oh shoot. So I kind of just applied for EI and employment insurance and started working on illustrating. And just 2 weeks into COVID, I was just like so bored. And I drew my first ever I drew a how-to guide, and it was a how-to guide of how to give yourself a bowl cut. And it was literally the
A
most fun
bowl
I ever
cut, like
had.
a haircut, bowl cut, you
A
mean?
haircut, yeah. So like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
illu I illustrated it
Hilarious.
step by step, and it was just like it was
I
so
love to see that.
fun, and people interacted with it, and it was like kind of this jokey thing. And then
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is fun. It's giving me an activity to do during COVID, and I'm actually illustrating and working on projects that I want to work on now. Well,
Mm.
illustrations that I want to work on now.
Yeah,
And I just continued on with that and just started making these how-to guides of funny things. And then I
I love
got
that.
into like making it more of like the encouraging, uplifting tone of voice. And that's where
Mm.
things really started to like pick up for me.
I love as well because it's the how-to guide with the haircut. That felt so relevant for that period of time where I don't know about you, do, but I was most folks, if you basically prive yourself and having haircuts regularly, like
Yeah.
I do, I had to have my wife anyway. That's nothing. I cut my hair, and that was a whole different board game. So I wish I had read your maybe not the bowl cut. I don't think I'm
The
not that look,
mocha?
but still, I feel like maybe not the bowl cut. Maybe in another life. But I love that you use something that was maybe relevant for folks and in a way comical, right? That people can get behind and bring them in. Which is I think is a really awesome way of saying it. So really let's talk about what you're obviously. So right now you're adding like a almost like an arm to
Yeah,
our
so I'm adding
basketball character.
an arm to this basketball character, and it's gonna
Mm,
be spinning a little world up here, like a globe. So
nice.
I'm using the ellipse tool for that, and then let's showcase a new tool that,
Let's do
well, not a new tool, but an old tool that like got a little improvement because the Adobe team be listening to all of our complaints on the
Of course,
internet.
they're looking after us. They treat us well. I love that. I mean, to be fair, I
I
don't know if
love
you're the
it
same, but
too.
during Max, after Max, I should say, was all the features and updates that came out, which just makes life like
Uh,
super easy for creatives now.
I know I'm super
Um,
excited for Max this year, but I usually use the paintbrush tool, so I like to draw like this, and I'm using
nice,
like the
freehand.
paintbrush tool because I like that you get that preview.
Mm,
Um, so a lot of people though use the pencil tool, and you usually get this like blue line, right? And that's one reason why I never liked using it, just because based off of this blue line, I didn't get to
I
see
love
the
that.
line in the moment. But
Mm,
within the program now, if you double click the pencil tool, you can go to the bottom, go to live preview. You can do live curve fitting. I'm not gonna do that right now. And we're gonna keep the fidelity in the middle. And then I can use this. And now that line pops up. This is a new feature, like I think I learned about it a couple weeks ago, and it honestly is so life
game
changing.
changer. Do
Like,
you I'm quite curious, do you because I've got some folks in the chat talking about I mean by the way they're loving your process and they've got few folks talking about the kind of shortcuts and keys that you use. Do you find yourself using the shortcuts and keys obviously now that you've worked in the industry for quite a while, or do you still just, old-fashioned menu drop down and then which is both
I
work, right? Both get the
mean,
end result, but
for the pencil tool and stuff like that, I'll use the
yeah.
shortcut. I think it's N, the letter N. So
Mm.
I'll use that and I'll use all those. But there are like a lot that I just don't know, and I know there's one where let's just pull this finger over here or this line over here. I usually select that line. I'll go object, transform, reflect, and then reflect. But I know
Yeah, yeah.
if you right click and go down here, transform, reflect, it's kind of the same thing. But I've just like my experience has always been going up to there and doing it.
It's our brains, right?
I
How it's tuned in, wired.
it's just like I feel like I could illustrate so much quicker and work on things so much quicker, but
Mm.
we're creatures of habit, right? So I
Course. And we're
I
stubborn
just
breeds as well as creatives, aren't we? We know what we like. We kind of stick to it and
exactly.
we stay in it. But I'm obviously folks are obviously on here, so hopefully get inspired and to see their work as well, which is cool. I'm quite curious, like what's your sort of setup? Are you using a tablet, pen tool, mouse? Just so
Yeah,
we have an idea of how you're
I'm
cracking on the
using
working.
like a Wacom tablet. I think it's like
Nice.
last year's edition, but it's just one that I kind of use it as like a mouse too.
Mm.
And this is like I can also use my fingers to like move around, which is dope. I love the touchscreen feature there. But
Mm.
yeah, I've been using Wacom since maybe 2012, 2011, and it took me such a long time to get into it just because once again I liked using the mouse at that time, and
Yeah.
I just didn't really want
I can
to
relate.
change my game, but I did it
I
up.
feel like we will separate at birthday because literally the same sort of method in a sense where I, from working in agencies, seeing a lot of people working on the tablets and the Wacoms, and it looked cool. And to be fair, it looked like it was easier for them to use that and their work. But because my mindset was so hot wired into using the mouse, I didn't really want to make that sort of leap of faith into applying and getting my own sort of Wacom, really, as it were. Not applying, but basically
Yeah,
purchasing one. And then once you get one, you're like, oh my goodness, mate, why did I take me so long to embrace this?
I
Let us know in
don't
the
even want
chat.
to use a mouse anymore.
Yeah, it's like, who are you, Mouse? Why are you? I mean,
Yeah.
let us know in the chat, folks. Do you have any sort of? It could be this as an example, the Wacom feature, or like the idea of having a tablet and using it, or any other things in particular, any gadgets that you now use that makes your creative workflow and process a lot easier. Let us know in the chat. We would love to hear.
I actually just
Boots to
updated
work
my
out.
I updated my what do you call it? My microphone for my like voiceovers and my content creation videos, and that
Nice.
was, man, I went from a $30 one to like, I don't know, nothing crazy, like 120, 130,
Mm.
and I'm just so happy with the quality. It just like makes the biggest difference ever.
That's the thing. It's when we invest into that little bit extra, it's just like we see the difference, right? We see the quality and which actually kind of brings us to into a nice part because I want to talk a bit about your your process, your background. So am I right in saying you're a freelancer predominantly,
Mhm.
that's what you do. With your clients, how do you kind of go about working with your clients? Is there a process that you tend to have in place when they
Um,
first approach? What's your
I mean, I guess
again,
we,
any
I
questions, let us know.
most of the process is just jumping on a call and seeing, usually they'll hit me up and say something like, "Hey, Adam, we want you to illustrate 8 assets for us, and it needs to be around." And if I let's just say I did a project for a client a little while ago, and they wanted something around basketball theme, but also back to school. So I was trying to illustrate basketball characters,
Mm,
their shoe spinning a basketball, and just going from there. But
nice.
yeah, it's mostly a discovery call, and I've been fortunate enough to build a following. And when a client comes to me, they're not asking for me to create a character that's not within my style.
Mm, but
So it's like,
they know what you're known for now. I love that.
exactly. So
Mm,
I'm super fortunate about that, and I don't have to like veer away from
mm,
um trying to do this reflect thing the new way that I'd never do it. But they kind of know what they're gonna get from me. But yeah,
I
a
love
lot
that.
of it is really open and kind of just like, "Hey, Adam, we trust you." And
Mm,
as amazing as that is, it's also super nerve-wracking to have to come up with 8 ideas by yourself. And you're just like, what do I do?
yeah,
How many
but
basketballs
you've
can I
got
draw?
this. You got... Yeah, I was gonna say how many basketballs, just like different angles or different sort of
Yeah.
orientations of the same ball. I love that. And I also love in the chat as well. Excuse me, all you folks engaging, and it's funny because a lot of folks, Adam, are talking about the experiences of working from mouse to Wacom to Wacom and back to mouse. And yeah, I think we're not alone when it comes to folks discovering different tools to work with. And we've got a question here from Velvet who said, "What mic upgrade did you go with?"
Oh, I went with this Hollyland. It's called Hollyland, and it's super small. I mean, I have it here. Am I allowed to show
It's
it?
so small we can't even see.
It's like in this little
Okay,
pouch. And the
nice.
reason I got this one though is like it has like the phone connector, and I do all of my editing,
Mm,
which is a bad habit of mine as well. Something where it's like what we were just talking about, getting rid of old habits. I'm so used to using just like editing quickly on my phone. So
mm,
I do all my voiceovers on my phone, and I just wanted something that was super easy to
yeah, on the go.
use. Yeah, on the go.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, and I feel like that's great for folks who are kind of starting out in this particular field that you're in now, in the sense where how do you find ways to make your work much more streamlined, right? Whether it's doing work on the go, whether it's utilizing sometimes Adobe Express as well, actually, because that's one thing we do a lot of at Adobe Live is talk about Express and the elements of doing things on the go, especially for those who are not necessarily from a design background, they can touch into it. Have you ever,
Hmm.
obviously, Illustrator is your baby, but do you ever dabble in Express sometimes, or have you dabbled in Express before, Adobe Express?
I'm an Adobe Express ambassador, and I actually
Ah,
love Adobe Express. I use Adobe Express for all of my titles. So all the
okay.
titles and the drop down menus that you see,
Mm,
I just like it because I can use all my fonts. Like I really need to get into Premiere Pro. Like
yes.
I need to get in there so bad, but I can't. I just like it's been a little bit of a learning curve, and I
Mm,
know my process is going there eventually. I also
I
want to
love
get
that.
a camera. Like I use my phone to film everything.
Okay.
So but right now I'm just creating this little Adobe guy
Mm,
that I made
I
into a
love that.
keychain a little while ago.
Did you? Okay,
I I pitched it to Adobe, but I'm adding it here because I thought this would be a
that's brilliant.
nice little
I love how
Adobe
the
touch.
corners kind of curved in really well into the eye. Actually, it fits in so well.
I have the real one here. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm not going to work on it completely. I think I have the A here. So I have it already completed.
Nice.
Because I was working on this a
That
little
page, I didn't
later.
even know I didn't even realize there's things on that other page board. It's like a here's what I made earlier sort of flex then.
Yeah.
Just when you just like, here's all my secret things.
I put it there for all my text and stuff because I don't want to like go through and like figure out what text I'm gonna
Okay, yeah.
use later. But I
Mm.
have a little secret agenda up there.
That
But
was
yeah, I
fresh
made
by
this
the way.
like
That easy, yeah.
little Adobe plushie that I absolutely love. And I thought it would be cool to implement in there and like have it hanging off of his pocket. That doesn't exist, but it's a cartoon, and I think that's the
I
best
was
thing
gonna
about
say
cartoons.
a pocket's not necessary, but you know what it really is. It's almost like when he was spinning something on his hand, I thought he can't spin a basketball because there's something quite inhumane about spinning. He is a basketball, right? So how could he
Yeah.
possibly be spinning? It's like just his own head. But yeah, globe is more appropriate. And we get there's a pocket there. We're
Yeah.
using our imagination, people.
Exactly.
Imagination.
He only has one arm too. I'm not putting another one on
Like, oh, I thought I was
him.
behind his back. Okay, I thought he was sort of hiding some other plushies that he
Yeah.
has there hidden, but who knows? Who knows? Imagination.
And now I'm just gonna I like to add shadows here. So I like to add some like these black shadows here before I add color to everything. So
Mm.
I just use my paintbrush tool. I use I think it's open bracket just to drop down the brush size a little bit. And I'll just draw my shape. Something I learned the other day is I can press, I don't even know what it is. I'm gonna have to like type it on here just so you can see what letter it is. It's this thing. I use that to fill it in.
Okay.
Whatever that is on the
Do you know?
keyboard. I don't know. What is that, a bracket? Is that, no, that's not a bracket. It's
I
like
know what you
a
mean. It's like a
more than less than thing.
yeah, yeah. That's a good way
Right?
of seeing it.
Yeah.
More than less. If there's an official way, let us know in the chat because I know you guys have our backs. But yeah, I know what you mean by the more than less than. That's like going back to school day, maths now.
Yeah.
We've got a question in the chat. Perhaps, but in fact, I want to do a nice little recap because I think folks have just tuned in now. So if you have just tuned in, massive welcome. And today we have Adam Bosley, who is working on Illustrator, creating some cool characters, and we're getting a feel for how he designs and how he works. So any questions, let us know. And a few questions that have popped in, and one in particular was the eyes, how you made the eyes, which I know
Oh
is at
yeah.
the very beginning of it. I wonder if you could
Yeah.
just maybe quickly show us again.
So I'll use
Make it
the
cheaper.
ellipse tool on this. I'll make it not have a fill for now. And all I did there was I changed the brush to from basic to round because that's kind of that's the default paintbrush for me. So I just want the same stroke there. And then I'll duplicate it. I'll make it a little bit smaller. And then I'll change it with Shift X to just a fill, from stroke to fill. And then I'm using this is just like a technique that I've done. I'm not sure if it's the right way, but I will use pen tool P and the plus sign. I'll add some anchor points here. And then I'll use the direct selection tool. And I'm just dragging this in to get that kind of
Nice.
eye. And then I'm just messing around with the handles to give it that sort of effect. And I've done it a couple different ways before as well, but this seems to be the way that works
works for
best
you.
for me.
Mm.
I'm sure I can do it cleaner, but I kind of like when it's a little janky because it kind of gives that
Yeah,
human effect. And with all the AI happening, I kind of want
not too
that.
polished.
I kind of want that human effect, even though I do aim for it to be super clean. I
Mm.
I do want that effect of not so clean.
But I love that as well. And you mentioned about if this is the right way. And in my mind, it's like this is the Adam way, right? Like we all have, and this is the
Exactly.
beauty why we do Adobe Live. Like I can't stress enough that when we have folks on these streams, incredible creators like yourselves, everyone has their own way of working, right? And their own sort of tips, tricks, tools. And that's why people watch to tune in to see how you do your end, right? And again, any sort of thing that you're seeing Adam do, that's a nice segment to mention. You know, if you want him to recap on a tool that you might have missed out on, let us know in the chat. Or any advice or tips you can give us as well whilst we're designing. Like I'm sure we can share that in the chat to Adam and see what he thinks as well. But this is why we do what we do, right? To see what folks do and how they design. So welcome.
Absolutely. This is like, so I did an online course a little while ago, and this was like a part that this is where I'm done. Let's just say I'm done the illustration here. I like where it's at. I want to add color, and this is where it starts to come alive for me. So I'm just gonna duplicate it by holding down Option and Shift. So it like, oops, I'm gonna select the whole thing. Maybe I'll group it, and then Option Shift, drag it over here so it stays aligned. I just always want to have, if I do little edits, I like to Option Shift, save it, duplicate it, just so, let's just say on this character, I wanted to try out different eyes. Like this, right? Real quick. I know those eyes aren't great, but let's just do some different eyes. Because a lot of the time, a lot of it is just like messing around, right? It's like, okay, what face do I want to use? I use a bunch of different faces. So I'll try those eyes. I'll duplicate it over here. I like that mouth over there, but let's try a little chill smiley face. And I will just, I will just make so many edits that continue along the canvas of Adobe Illustrator, just so I can see the endless possibilities that I can make. That's like my one favorite thing about why I like working in Illustrator versus, let's say, Photoshop, is I love that you have that like outside canvas outside of the artboard. I work in the outside of the artboard. Like that's where everything lives until I get into the
contained.
Type. Yeah, until I get into type. Once I get into type, then it's like, okay, this is going for social media. So let's like get my 1350 by 1080 artboard and go from there. But I usually like to select everything. I'll group it. I'll go up to Object. This is just prepping it for color. So I'll go up to Object. I will go to Expand Appearance. Go Object, Expand. Press OK. And then I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool here and use Unite. So it's all clipped in together. Nice. And then I'm going to use my favorite tool, the Live Paint Bucket tool, which is K. And right now, since the outline is black, if I press K, all I have to do is click in there to activate it as a live paint bucket. So as a live object. So now I can go to my color palette over here and I can select this orange and I can start filling it in without it being selected. Nice. So I'm just filling in the base color just to get some color going, so we can make this thing come alive.
I generally thought he was wearing, I'm going to be inappropriate now, but I thought he was wearing pants, and I realized everything's orange, so he's just rocking it. He's having a great time. So sorry, I'm very childish. So we've got some, folks, by the way, are loving what they're seeing, Adam. We've got Stephen who said, whoa, Adam, the illustrator, the GOAT, the legend himself. Do you know him? I don't know. Everyone's loving your work.
I think I might know him.
I loved it. I've been loving the support. I remember people as well. This is, Adam's first time on Adobe Live as well. So, we are very, very, grateful and happy to have him here. So again, you're showing the love, which we like to see. And also, Adam, we were thinking about what the wording was for that symbol. We didn't really know what it was. We had this chat come through with us, and actually they looked it up for us. They did the research. They did some Inspector Morse and found out that I looked it up, and it's less and greater than symbol. So you were right, basically.
Okay.
There wasn't like a longer terminology at play. But again, thanks for the chat, for having our backs. Much
appreciate the chat.
We love the chat. Just a quick question. So obviously, one thing I wanted to ask you is, with these designs and your characters that you do and on your social, you've got quite a distinctive style. Where's your inspiration sort of taken from? Obviously, you mentioned you like playing basketball. That's your thing. Do you tend to follow particular folks, or do you watch things, go to events? Where is this kind of inspiration coming from for you to do what you do?
I just always I don't know. I wasn't, how do I say this politically correct? I wasn't like the smartest kid in class, and I don't know. Whenever I went to like book fairs, all I looked at were like the pictures, and like I said, like art came really late for me. I never really got into it super early, but just like looking at cartoons and watching cartoons my whole life, I guess that's where like the inspiration came from. I never really looked at like Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse to like create these characters, but I obviously those are like the OGs and the legends, but sorry, I'm trying to do this and talk to. But I guess I
No, it's an
got
art, don't worry.
inspo from there, and
Mm,
just kind of took it from there. Like a lot of my early work that I did was a lot of like line work. So like the bowl cut that I was talking about was like a lot of line work stuff, and then
mm.
from there I started adding colors to characters for because I got a project with a well-known brand that we all know. I'm not sure if
Sure.
I can say I'm not sure if I can say brands on here, but yeah, we
You can
can.
say that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
project
yeah. We'll keep
for
it short and sweet.
Nike, and they wanted me to
Cool.
add color to my characters. So that's when the color started to come in, and then I started getting into. I wanted to make a how-to guide about how to make it in 2020, and it started so negative, and I changed the tone of
Mm,
voice to like something positive, and all I was drawing was just like simple things like a heart, a sun, an earth, like things that I felt like I connected with at that time, smiley
mm.
faces, and just like putting little smiley faces on it. So if you look back at my work from
Love that.
20, let's say 2020, and
Mm,
now you'll see a massive difference. And at the Adobe Create now, I kind of showed like my heart character in 2020 versus my heart character today.
yeah.
And just the different, like looking at it, because you know when you're in it, you know, you're just kind of like, but then when you
Of
go back
course.
and look and then put it next to something that you've made, you're like, holy, like you really get to see the improvement. And it's just something cool
Mm.
to do once in a
There's
while.
that
Go look.
that progress, right? It's I've always been like I've had this conversation with a few friends of mine. It's just the idea if you go back in time and do something different when it comes to work, would you? And I don't know. I mean, everyone's got a different answer and question to that. And again, great to know in the chat. If same question for you, if there's anything you could go back in time if you're creative and change, would you? Well, let us know. But I always feel like maybe it's healthy to not do that because actually, I mean, if we couldn't anyway, but we can't. But if you could, I mean, not because in a sense where that's the whole idea of learning, right? That's the learning process. And
Exactly.
obviously what you have done a year ago or 2 years ago is hopefully, been improved and sharpened since where you're at now.
And I
So
think like
yeah,
a
I mean,
big
it's yeah.
thing, one of the biggest questions I get asked online is like, how do you find your style? How do you find your style? And I think a lot of it is
Mm,
just like putting in a lot of work. You know, I like to always say like, draw the stuff you like, like that you like in life. Like
mm,
if you like cell phone cases, that's a bad example, but let's just say you like shoes and you're obsessed with
yeah.
shoe brands. Draw those shoes. I used to draw shoes all the time. I was very much so obsessed with basketball for like such a long time,
Oh yeah.
and I drew basketball players. Like I drew their faces. And
Okay.
during the Toronto Raptors run in 2019, I
Mm,
was so obsessed with that, and I was drawing their faces and posting them online. But like drawing those faces, adding shadows to those allowed me to kind of, when I came into creating these characters and I started adding color to them again, I kind of
mm,
knew how to add shadows to things because
because you've
I
had the homework.
back in 2018, 2019, I was doing stuff like that. So you
Mm,
don't have to find your style in day one or day two, but over
mm,
time, it'll just, with all the practice and all the different styles that you test out, your style will
mm.
just start to form. Because trust me, I used to ask that question all the time. I was like, oh, I really want a style. I really want
I
to
love
throw an
that.
art show, but I never had any
Yeah.
art that looked cohesive.
It didn't feel right at
And
the time. Yeah.
so now I have that, and it's it's a fun place to be at.
I think that's great, and I think that is, I mean, you're throwing some serious gems at us, which I absolutely adore, and I think that's great for those who are in the chat, and especially if you're in the chat and if you are a student or a graduate, and of course everyone else is welcome, but in particular people who are just starting out, in particular, that is, it's quite, there's a sense of comfort in what you're saying. I think Adam, in a sense where you know finding the style takes time, and I actually had a conversation this morning with a friend of mine about this idea of finding your style and even this idea of finding your values and the ethics that behind your work. That's also quite, and without going too off piece here, but quite important, which sometimes takes us a while to kind of niche down on what it really is. Well, what is value to you basically? Is it your time? Is it the fee? Is it all these elements to it? Which takes time. So again, any questions and in fact any experiences you would like to share in the chat, let us know because it'd be nice to hear what folks here think about that in particular, about this idea of finding your niche or learning how the process works. We've got a question here from Zar for you, Adam, and they've asked, so how do you decide your color palette for illustrations? Massive fan of your work. There we go.
Thank you. I
Boom.
appreciate it. Thank you so
How do you
much.
decide color palettes?
Color palettes, I mean, for the most part, I mean, basketball is going to be orange, but I just like softer colors. I know this world doesn't look that soft, but I will spend a lot of time getting my color palette. And
Mm,
since I've worked on like a lot of projects over the last 5 years, I kind of
mm.
have my color palette figured out. But over time, like this basketball character back in the day was a different color, you know, it was like a different orange. And my heart characters were kind of like a more vibrant orange or
Okay.
a more, I don't
Sort
know
of like
what,
traditional, the traditional colors you mean. You kind of went a bit like
yeah, I didn't really go
out of the
red for
box.
the heart, but I went for pink. And then it kind of started with like this, like, I guess like a neon pink. And then it
Mm,
kind of translated into a softer pink, you know, like you're looking at your
mm.
work nonstop. And then you're like,
Of
you know what? I
course.
kind of want to like make this heart a little different. Like, I don't feel like it's
Mix it
meshing
up.
well with the globe character that I'm creating. So let's,
Yeah.
um, let's see what happens there. Also, just a quick little note. I don't know if
Mm.
anyone in the chat has noticed, but once again, just thanking Adobe for some fun features. Something I noticed the other day is when I'm selecting colors, I can go back up here to my color guide and there's recent colors there now. That never used to be a
Nice.
thing. And that's life changing for me. I love being able to
I
come
love
in
that.
here because if I need to add another, if I need to add another shadow here, which I don't
Mm.
really, but if I need to add another shadow, I can just go up there and select that color
Nice.
and then I can do my multiply
Love
effect.
that. I love hearing it's not I would say little things, but it's not little because it's big in a sense where it makes your work and many other creators' work much more streamlined and accessible and easier. So I mean, again, these are why these tips and tricks and features are put in place, right, by the Adobe gods
Absolutely.
to make life easier for yourself. So great questions,
For
are
sure.
great question, and that's a nice time to mention as a final reminder, and also to you as well, Adam. So we've got our final sort of 15 minutes or so, probably less than
Okay.
that, which we'll be in a good place. But what I'll do is I'll give you a heads up as the final 10. And then we'll do a nice recap. But more for the chat, because we're in this last or final stage or hurdle. Any final questions you want to ask Adam? Design process, design background. Why is the character got an Adobe? Is it a keyring, isn't it? It's a
It's
keyring,
an
right?
Adobe plushie.
Plushie. Why has he got that? Any question we want to know? I mean, it's a good question. Let us know in the chat. We want to know for those final sort of 13 minutes or so.
Some shadows here. Probably didn't fill in the shoes or the socks.
I feel like he's
So
gonna
yeah,
jump into a holder. He's gonna like jump into there's like a hole in the ground. He's about to step right through.
the socks in there started during COVID as well because like I don't know about you, but I'm always just like chilling in socks and sandals.
Yeah,
And it started
that's a thing
back in the
now.
day, and now it's just part of my
You
characters.
know, I don't know if this is a thing, and about for any parents on the stream, I want to geek out now, but I don't know if it's a dad thing, but I'm going for a phase of the white shirts and the long like socks up, like Nike socks in particular, mentioned brands with like try. I don't know if it's a thing. Maybe it's not. I just there's memes on social about it, but definitely going off piece now. But I've got a question actually. Let's keep back on brand as always. Question for you, Adam, from Jackie, and they've asked. Adam, I'm curious, are there any tools you would want to see in Illustrator?
Oof,
So
I have a
Adam has the
list.
free reign, just like the
I have a
Adam's world,
list.
basically talk us through.
I don't know if there's like a specific tool, but I think
Mm,
something that I always see come up on my tutorial videos are when I'm typing out a word like hey hi, oops,
mm.
SpongeBob. Um, let's
Great
actually,
show.
you know what? Let's go up here and grab some of my text. Shoot your shot for this little guy. When I'm typing out a word,
No pun intended.
like
Definitely pun
listener,
intended.
I'm gonna group this, bring it to the front, and then okay, we're going back to the feature. Sorry, that was
Let's go.
So I usually do this stuff where I do like shoot your shot and you got this, and this you got this. I'll either have like a little pointer like that, or I'll put it in a box, right? This, shift that. I'll put it in a box like this, and then you can align it. But sometimes it doesn't align the best. Like this one does, but if I go, let's just select a different font. I think this one might not. I think actually, do you know what? I think I fixed it in my program. But I would love it if there was a feature where I could easily get an appearance panel, and this box would, I could put something like over
preview?
here, and it would allow this box to move with my type.
Yeah, to see before you commit.
There's a way to do it. I can do it in the appearance panel, right? But that is something that I would love, like if it was just like a quick button, where it's just like,
okay, all right.
and it will move along with my text and like keep everything aligned properly, I guess you could say. I know how to make it, but it's a little bit of a, it's a little couple extra steps, and people are always like, that takes so long. And I'm like, I didn't make the program. I'm sorry, but I'm trying.
Well, you never know. Next features. I'm just saying, not that I have any inside scoop here, but I guess that's the beauty, is that when we have Macs and then it's what comes after, it's just like a wow. Okay, my brain wasn't expecting it to go down that path. There's so much design puns there, the path. But yeah, the idea of just knowing there's some things that will make your life, so easy. And that's just in Illustrator, right? We cover obviously every single program available. So obviously Adobe Live streams, especially if you are new to Adobe Live, we're covering, various other programs: Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Adobe Express, Illustrator, of course. So yeah, we have the beauty of hopefully there's some new features later on in the year. We've got a funny comment here from Emily, which I've got to throw it out there. Heads up to Emily. Hey, my only question, she says, Adam, is why don't we have more plushies in hand? I mean, the hand can only hold so many plush. Do we have like a third plushie on the? He's already spinning the globe on his hand.
Soon enough, the basketball character is gonna be a plushie with its own plushies on there.
Inception plushie, just like where is the end mark? Where's the end?
The plushie world. But this is a way that I can make that effect, right? So you got this. So it kind of moves like that. But I would love to, if it was like one little quick button. That's it.
I love that.
But I can do that in the appearance panel, and it's fun and it happens.
There could be some new updates. You never know. And so Jackie was the one that put that question there. And when you mentioned you had a list of things, I think she was, or they're definitely up for hearing what that full list would have been. Maybe for another stream. Maybe they might follow up on a DM. Who knows? This is a nice time to mention. So we've got, I want to say like another 5 more minutes. We'll do a nice little wrap up. And then I want to make sure that people can know how to find out more about you, Adam, and where to find out for. So yeah, for our final, few minutes, we'll kind of get towards an end. Goes quick, right? I told you it goes quick.
It's real quick. Like I would have loved to add some fun stuff up here and some backgrounds and stuff like that, but it goes really quick. And I forgot to add some little mini details to the socks and stuff. Usually I add these little smiley faces. I also usually add like a heart to my character here, like this. And
is that a tattoo? Is that a tattoo? Or was it just like a sticker that's plucked to his cheekbone?
I usually do this little heart here. I'm gonna try and do it without this background.
Nice.
And I kind of make this happen. I'll fill it in black for the most part. I'm trying to do this all on the fly. Actually, do you know what? I have my character up here. Hold on. This is the one that I usually do. But I'll usually do like a little heart there, and it'll be like the inner heart smiling. So that's like a little nod to, just on the outside you might be feeling some way, on the inside you feel a little different. So it'll change from like a smiley face, sad face, a little like face,
confused face, just what his mood is, right?
But this is kind of where I got it earlier, just like taking an old illustration and adding the Adobe plushie to it, adding some fun socks, and then I would, kind of do something like this, where
that is awesome, dude. I love that.
Taking it slow is the best way to go. Yeah. And then I could.
Can you zoom in a bit more? That character, maybe it's my eyes. What character was that? Is that?
It's a globe.
Okay, my brain it took a while to process that. It was my brain. Okay,
like
cool,
a world with some like clouds chilling on it.
Being hugged around.
This one usually has a fun face. Like I usually like making fun faces where like you see it and you laugh a little bit. Like I'll do a face like that.
I love how his finger also has like a smiley face on wherever you can
Yeah,
just like get it on there, you put it on there. The chat is obviously
everywhere
absolutely
possible.
buzzing, by the way. The chat is absolutely buzzing, by the way. We've got the Creative Pain saying, Adam, very awesome to see your work. Jacob saying, absolutely crushed it. Yeah, folks are loving what they're seeing, dude. Loving what they're
Love
seeing.
it. And then I'll like add this like little guy flying in here. I know this is going off a different illustration, but
I've got to ask, what font is the where it says slow? I'm quite curious what font you're
I
using
think
for
it's
that.
Migra from Pangram. It's a great font.
It works
Also,
really, yeah, it
one
works
quick
really
thing
nice.
before we end. I know I was like
Mm,
doodling really quickly, but like when I'm doing my lines like this, right? Um, a lot of the time when you make a line kind of like this,
mm.
or let's say like this, it'll give some effects that are a little bit harsh. But one of my favorite things, once again, let's just highlight Adobe here. I know this is like not a new thing, but I always like to have my paintbrush tool. If you double click the paintbrush tool, you go to the
Mm.
fidelity slider, slide it towards smooth. I usually like to have it there. So when I'm drawing out a line here, let's just say I'm drawing this highlight here, even if I'm like a little wonky, it'll kind of snap it into place. I don't know if
Nice.
you caught that, but
Yeah, very sort of smooth
that's
transition.
one of my favorite things. And I do like smooth lines. I know obviously people like them rough, not so smooth, but that's one of my favorite things. So just double click the paintbrush tool, get the fidelity thing going, get the fidelity
Mm.
towards smooth, and you'll, even if your lines are a little janky, it'll kind of smooth it out.
Snap it back to place. I love, dude. I feel like this stream has been awesome because for multiple things. One, you're a very great guy, and obviously your work's awesome. But I like that you kind of sprinkle in a few tips and tricks. Because I know when we first came on the call, obviously I know we wanted to get the job kind of finished, but I think it's great because this is what we do with Adobe Live, so we can see people's design methodology, and you've shared so many tips in the Illustrator, which I think is hopefully going to help a lot of folks out there. So really great job, dude.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
Perhaps it's a good time to, because we've got a very, literally 4 minutes or so, maybe a very brief recap on what we've done, and then we'll end of, how folks can know about yourself, how they can follow up.
Great. So yeah, I just illustrated one of my go-to characters, which is this basketball character, and he's spinning a globe, and it has this little Adobe plushie keychain on there that I really want to get made.
Folks were loving that. They were loving that, dude.
And I really wanted to get some type going, but I kind of ran out of time. But yeah, a lot of this just like, I think the main thing is knowing that things take time, try different iterations. I tried to whip this together in an hour. It is something that I've already created before, which was a little bit easier and maybe cheating, but going off the dome, it definitely takes time. Like some of these illustrations, I'll work on a hand for maybe an hour or two, 2 hours or three. But then it's just like building up your color palette, which takes some time as well, adding some shadows, some highlights, some shading, and hopefully get it to a good place where you feel comfortable putting it out there. And even if you don't feel comfortable, I think you should put your work out there because one of my sayings was you never know who's looking.
I
And
love that.
that's kind of the thing. And I think the more you put your work out there, the better chance you have of getting some new work.
Of course. And I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure to sort of see how you've worked and to talk you through your process. And I can see folks, again, it's been absolutely glowing in terms of the comments and the feedback. And I can see a question here from Mario asked, will there be a recording? And again, what we're doing the streams, these are going to be online. So even when we've finished and we've got more content happening throughout the day, you can rewatch these streams. So you definitely haven't missed it. And I'm sure folks can reach out to you, Adam. What's the best way people can reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean,
What's
I
your
think
interweb
following me
details?
on, yeah, I think following me on Instagram is the best. I'm usually on there quite often. So at Adam underscore the illustrator. And then if you want to stop by my shop for prints and stuff, link is in bio on my Instagram, but I think it's
Nice.
studio adamtheillustrator.com. And I just put prints up there from time to time. And yeah, that's where you can support me.
Nice. I'm gonna be very cheeky. There's one final question. If you can make it super quick, only because I feel like it was on there for a while and I didn't want to ignore it. So the final question is, uh, do you let yourself be inspired by other designers? It's a very quick
I
final question from just to wrap up on.
I think I am. Yeah, I'm definitely inspired by other designers. I don't think I'm trying to mimic other designers, but some of my favorite designers, I'll go to art shows and just get inspired, whether it's a new color palette or a new font. I think that's how I'm getting inspired. And also just like, I'm doing a lot of content these days. So looking at cool shots, I just bought a C stand that's over there. So I'm trying to get like an overhead shot going. I'm just trying to elevate myself as much as I can in all different avenues. So yeah, I get inspired by so many different people.
Awesome, dude. I hope for your very first stream, congratulations as well. And I'm hoping we can have you back. It's been an absolute blast to host you. And a massive thank you again to the stream. Again, without you guys, there is no stream. So as always, you can rewatch the streams, and I'm sure Adam will be very happy for you to follow up on Instagram. So just to give you a reminder, up next we've got the legend that is Ryan Selvey for creator news, I should say. For any fresh insights into graphic design tools or latest design trends. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. And on a final note, again, Adam, thank you again for joining us, dude. Have you enjoyed it?
Thank you. I did. I loved it. I definitely want to do one in the Adobe Live office.
Come back again. We'll have you, man. We'll have you. So as always, friends, stay nice to each other, be safe, and we'll see you for the next stream. Ciao.